Commander Liz Ford stood on the bridge of the U.S. Defiant, her eyes fixed on the main screen. The ship that appeared there was unlike anything she had seen in her 15 years of space service. It was black, not the gray black of military vessels or the reflective black of stealth ships. This was a true black that seemed to swallow light. "Are we sure that's a ship?" Liz asked, leaning forward. "Not some kind of space rock." Chief Science Officer Alan Reeves looked up from his station. His face was pale in the blue glow of his screens. "It's a ship, Commander, but our scans barely register it. It's eating our sensor beams." Liz frowned. The object hung at the edge of human space, near the small research station that monitored this sector. For 3 days, it had stayed perfectly still. No communication, no movement, just watching. "Try hailing it again," she ordered. Communications Officer Betty Ward nodded. "This is U.S. Defiant of the Earth Space Fleet. Unknown vessel, please identify yourself." She waited, then shook her head. "No response, Commander." Same as the last 20 times. Lieutenant Sam Donovan stood at the weapons station, his fingers tapping nervously on the console. "I don't like this, Commander. It's too quiet." "I don't like it either, Sam," Liz said quietly. "But we don't fire first. That's not who we are." The bridge fell silent again, everyone watching the strange ship on the screen. Liz studied its odd shape. No clean lines like human ships, but a twisted, almost organic form with parts that seemed to grow from the main body. The quiet was broken by a sudden alarm. "Commander," Reeves shouted, "the ship is moving." On the screen, the black vessel was turning, extending what looked like long, thin arms. "It's targeting the research station," Donovan reported, his voice tight. "Energy buildup detected." Liz didn't hesitate. "Shields up. Move to intercept." "Ward," warned the station. The Defiant lurched as it shot forward, engines pushing to maximum. They weren't going to make it in time. The black ship fired. A beam of dark energy, somehow visible despite being darker than space itself, struck the small research station. The station's shields flared bright blue for a moment, then failed. Half the station went dark. 200 civilians on that station, Liz said through clenched teeth. "Donovan, target their weapons. Warning shot only." "Yes, Mom." The Defiant fired, a bright pulse of energy that crossed the void in seconds. It struck the black ship and seemed to vanish into its hull with barely a flash. Alan Reeves stared at his readings in disbelief. "It absorbed our shot. No damage at all." "Impossible," Donovan muttered. The communication system crackled. "U.S. Defiant, this is Admiral Chris Kelly. You are authorized to use all necessary force. That thing hit 3 other stations before reaching you. We need to stop it now." Liz nodded grimly. "Understood, Admiral." She turned to Donovan. "Full weapons. Target their engines, or whatever passes for engines on that thing." The Defiant fired again, this time with everything it had. The black ship finally reacted, turning to face them fully. "It's scanning us," Reeves reported. "I've never seen scans like these. It's like it's looking through us." Liz watched as the ship seemed to shift its shape slightly, parts of it moving like a living thing. "Commander," Betty Ward called, her voice strange. "I'm picking up a transmission. Not words, but patterns. It might be trying to communicate, or it might be trying to hack our systems," Donovan countered. Before Liz could decide, the black ship fired again. This time, at them. "Brace for impact," she shouted. The Defiant shuddered as the dark beam struck. The lights flickered. "Shields holding at 60%, Reeves reported. "Whatever that weapon is, it's nothing like ours." Liz gripped the arms of her chair. "So this is first contact," she said quietly. Then, louder. "All hands, battle stations. This is no longer a patrol mission. We are at war." The U.S. Defiant shook as another blast from the black ship hit its shields. Commander Liz Ford grabbed her chair to stay upright. Shields at 40%. Alan Reeves called out, his fingers flying over his console. One more hit like that, and we're in trouble. Lieutenant Sam Donovan fired the ship's main weapons again. The energy beams struck the black ship but seemed to do little damage. It's like punching a sponge, Donovan said in frustration. Our weapons hit it, but the energy just gets absorbed. Liz studied the strange vessel on the main screen. There had to be a weakness, something they were missing. Can we get any better scans now that we're closer? She asked. Alan shook his head, then paused. Wait. When it fires, there's a moment when part of its hull thins, almost like it's directing all its energy to the weapons. Sam, target that spot next time it fires, Liz ordered. The black ship seemed to be studying them. Turning slowly in space, the research station behind them was still partly functional, with emergency crews trying to save the damaged sections. Dr. Olivia Wright, the ship's xenobiologist, stepped onto the bridge. Commander, I've been watching the sensor data. I think that ship might be alive. Alive? Liz turned to look at her. You mean sentient? I mean biological, or partly so, Olivia said. The way it moves, how it reacts to damage, it's more like an organism than a machine. Before Liz could respond, the black ship moved again. It extended what looked like a long tentacle toward the damaged research station. It's going to fire again, Donovan warned. All power to forward weapons, Liz commanded. Wait for it to fire, then hit the spot Alan identified. Everyone on the bridge held their breath as the black ship's tentacle began to glow with dark energy. The moment it fired, Donovan released a full burst from the Defiant's weapons, targeting the thinned area of the hull. This time, the effect was dramatic. The black ship's surface rippled, and what looked like black liquid sprayed into space. The vessel recoiled, pulling away from the station. We heard it, Donovan said in surprise. If Dr. Wright is right, and it's partly biological, then we just made it bleed, Liz said. Press the advantage. Target the same area again. The Defiant moved forward, weapons firing repeatedly at the damaged section. The black ship twisted away, trying to protect its wound. Then, without warning, it released a pulse of energy that temporarily blinded their sensors. Where did it go? Liz demanded when the screens cleared. It's retreating, Alan reported. Moving fast, heading out of the system. Liz stood up. Follow it. We can't let that thing escape to attack another station. Commander, Betty Ward called from communications. Admiral Kelly is ordering us to pursue and destroy the vessel. Tell him we're already on it, Liz replied. She turned to Dr. Wright. I want to know everything about that ship. If it's partly biological, as you suggest, that changes our approach entirely. There's something else, Alan said. His voice was strange, causing everyone to look at him. When we damaged it, a small piece broke off. It's floating about half a kilometer from our position. Liz's eyes widened. Can we bring it aboard? Safely. Alan nodded. I think so, if we use the highest containment protocols. Do it, Liz ordered. But be extremely careful. If that ship is as advanced as it seems, even a small piece could be dangerous. As the Defiant changed course to retrieve the fragment, Liz stared at the retreating form of the black ship on the long-range scanners. They had won this first battle, but something told her the war was just beginning. Once we secure that fragment, resume pursuit, she said quietly. Whatever that thing is, we can't let it reach any populated areas. 3 weeks had passed since the U.S. Defiant began chasing the black ship. The crew was tired. The ship seemed to always stay just far enough ahead that they couldn't catch it, but close enough that they never lost its trail. Commander Liz Ford stared at the star map in her private quarters. The black ship had led them through 5 star systems, always moving away from human space. Were they being led into a trap? A knock at her door pulled her from her thoughts. Enter, she called. Dr. Olivia Wright stepped in, holding a tablet. Dark circles under her eyes showed she hadn't been sleeping much. You should rest, Olivia, Liz said. So should you, Commander, Olivia replied with a small smile. But we both know that's not happening. I have an update on the fragment. Liz sat up straighter. Tell me. It's definitely biological, or at least partly so. But like nothing we've ever seen. The cells, if we can call them that, are both organic and mechanical. What does that mean? Liz asked. It means the ship is alive. Not just a vehicle with a crew, but a living entity itself. Olivia paused. And there's something else. The fragment is trying to repair itself. Liz felt a chill run down her spine. Repair itself? Is that dangerous? Should we destroy it? We have it in full containment, and studying it is giving us valuable information. Olivia handed Liz the tablet. Look at these readings. The fragment releases small amounts of the same radiation signature we're following. I think the main ship is looking for its lost piece. Before Liz could respond, the ship's communication system activated. Commander Ford to the bridge, Betty Ward's voice called. Liz and Olivia hurried to the bridge. Lieutenant Sam Donovan and Alan Reeves were already there, looking at the main screen. What is it? Liz asked. We've entered a nebula. Alan explained. Visibility and sensors are severely limited. We could lose the black ship's trail. And that's not all. Communications Officer Gary Peterson added from his station. He was new, having joined them at their last supply stop. I've been analyzing some strange signals. At first, I thought it was just background noise from the nebula. But there's a pattern. What kind of pattern? Liz asked, moving to his station. Similar to the signals the black ship was sending during our battle. But these are coming from different directions. Gary looked up at her with worried eyes. Commander, I think there might be more black ships out there. The bridge fell silent as everyone processed this information. If there are more ships like that one, Sam began. Then one could have been a scout, testing our defenses. Liz finished. She turned to Olivia. Your research just became even more important. We need a better way to fight these things. Sam spoke up. I've been working on something based on Dr. Wright's findings, a modification to our weapons that might be more effective against the black ship's biology. A message alert sounded on Betty's console. Commander, priority transmission from Earth Fleet Command. Put it through, Liz ordered. Admiral Chris Kelly's face appeared on screen. He looked grim. Commander Ford, your mission parameters have changed. We've detected 3 more objects with signatures matching your black ship, entering human space from different vectors. Whatever you're chasing, it's not alone. Liz felt her heart sink. Do we have enough ships to intercept them all? Barely. That's why your mission is now critical. You must destroy the ship you're pursuing, not just damage it. We need to know these things can be killed. After the transmission ended, Liz turned to her crew. You heard the Admiral. We're no longer just following this thing. We're hunting it down. She looked at Sam. Get that weapon modification ready. When we catch up to the black ship, we need to finish it. Lieutenant Sam Donovan hadn't slept in 36 hours. He stood in the weapons lab of the U.S. Defiant, staring at the modified torpedo in front of him. If his calculations were right, this would work. If not, the door opened, and Commander Liz Ford walked in. How's it coming, Sam? It's ready, he said, rubbing his tired eyes. Based on Dr. Wright's research, I've created a weapon that should disrupt the biological parts of the black ship. It won't just damage it. It should tear it apart from the inside. Liz nodded. Good, because we finally cornered it. After weeks of chase, the black ship had made a mistake. It had entered a system with a massive gas giant, and the Defiant had managed to cut off its escape route. Now the alien vessel was trapped between the warship and the huge planet's gravity. On the bridge, the crew watched the main screen with tense faces. The black ship hung in space, its strange form seeming to shift and pulse even as they watched. It knows it's trapped, Olivia Wright said quietly. It's scared. Does it show any signs of surrendering? Liz asked. Communications Officer Gary Peterson shook his head. No response to any of our signals, Commander. Liz took a deep breath. Then we have no choice. Lieutenant Donovan, prepare to fire the modified torpedoes. Sam's fingers moved over his console. Torpedoes armed and ready, Commander. Fire. 2 torpedoes shot from the Defiant, streaking across space toward the black ship. The alien vessel tried to move, but it was too late. Both torpedoes struck its hull and vanished inside. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the black ship began to convulse. Its surface rippled and bulged. Cracks appeared, leaking the strange dark fluid they had seen before. "It's working," Sam said, his voice filled with surprise and relief. Suddenly, the black ship exploded. A blast of dark energy spread outward, forcing the Defiant to raise shields at maximum power. When the energy cleared, there was nothing left but scattered debris. "We did it," Liz said softly. "We actually destroyed it." The bridge crew cheered, but Liz noticed that Olivia wasn't joining in. The scientist was staring at her screens with a troubled expression. "What's wrong?" Liz asked, moving to her side. "It was too easy," Olivia said. "After all the trouble it gave us, it just fell apart." "Easy," Sam laughed. "We chased it across half the galaxy. My torpedoes worked exactly as designed." "I know, but—" Olivia frowned. "Something doesn't feel right." Alan Reeves spoke up from his station. "Commander, should we collect some of the debris for study?" Liz hesitated, remembering Olivia's concerns about the fragment they already had. But orders were orders. Yes, use extreme caution and full containment protocols. 2 hours later, the Defiant had collected several large pieces of the destroyed ship. The crew was finally allowing themselves to relax. They had completed their mission. The black ship was destroyed. In the mess hall, Sam lifted a cup in a toast. "To the finest crew in the fleet," he said. Everyone cheered. Only Liz and Olivia seemed unable to fully join the celebration. "You still think something's wrong, don't you?" Liz asked quietly. Olivia nodded. "That ship was unlike anything we've ever encountered. I find it hard to believe we destroyed it so completely." "But we all saw it explode." "Yes, we did," Olivia agreed. "But what if that's exactly what it wanted us to see?" As if in answer to her question, Alan's voice came over the ship's comm system. "Commander Ford to the science lab immediately. There's something you need to see." The celebration fell silent as Liz and Olivia hurried out. When they reached the lab, Alan was standing over one of the recovered pieces of debris. "It's gone," he said. "I put it in the containment field, and now it's just gone." The U.S. Defiant returned to Earth as heroes. News of their victory over the mysterious black ship spread quickly. People cheered as Commander Liz Ford and her crew stepped off the ship at the main space dock. But Liz couldn't enjoy the celebration. Something was wrong. She hadn't slept well since the battle. Every night, she dreamed of the black ship exploding, but in her dreams, she could see something escaping from the blast. Something small and dark, moving with purpose. "You look terrible," Lieutenant Sam Donovan said, joining her at the reception. Around them, officials and officers mingled, drinking and laughing. "Thanks," Liz said dryly. "You always know just what to say to a lady." Sam smiled, but his eyes were serious. "You're still worried about the ship, aren't you?" 3 pieces of debris disappeared from our containment fields before we reached Earth. Dr. Wright thinks every shadow might be alive." Sam interrupted. "You destroyed the black ship, Commander. I saw it explode. We all did." Liz nodded, but she couldn't shake her feeling of dread. She looked around the room and spotted Dr. Olivia Wright talking with a woman she didn't recognize. Olivia caught her eye and nodded toward a side door, indicating they should meet. "Excuse me," Liz said to Sam, and made her way through the crowd. In a quiet hallway outside the reception, Olivia was waiting with the stranger, a woman with sharp eyes and a serious expression. "Commander Ford, this is Intelligence Officer Nancy Rivera," Olivia said. She wants to talk to us. About what? Liz asked. Nancy looked around to make sure they were alone. About the black ship, and why all your recovered debris has been moved to a top-secret facility that even I can barely access. Liz felt her heart beat faster. I was told it was for security. That's what they told you, Nancy agreed. But something strange is happening. Last night, there was an energy surge at the facility. This morning, 3 scientists who were working there didn't show up for duty. Their homes are empty. What are you suggesting? Liz asked, though she already knew the answer. I think your black ship wasn't destroyed, Nancy said bluntly. I think it just went dark. The words sent a chill through Liz. They matched her fears too perfectly. We need to see that facility, Olivia said. Nancy shook her head. Impossible. It's guarded better than the president's bedroom. But she pulled out a small device. I copied some data before access was restricted. Energy readings from your debris samples. Olivia took the device and studied it. Her face paled. These are active readings. The debris isn't dead matter. It's still functioning somehow. How is that possible? Liz asked. Remember what I said about the ship being partly biological? Olivia looked up with frightened eyes. I think the pieces are like cells, independent but part of a whole. Nancy nodded. And there's more. Similar energy signatures have been detected in 4 different locations around Earth. Small, almost unnoticeable, but growing stronger. Liz felt sick. It's spreading. The door to the reception opened, and Admiral Chris Kelly stepped into the hallway. He smiled when he saw Liz, but his eyes seemed oddly blank. Commander Ford, we've been looking for you, he said. The president wants to meet our hero. Liz forced a smile. Of course, Admiral. I'll be right there. As the Admiral turned back to the door, Liz noticed something on the back of his neck, a small dark patch that seemed to pulse slightly. Did you see that? She whispered to Olivia and Nancy. They nodded, their faces grim. We need help, Liz said quietly. Sam and Alan. We need people we can trust. Meet me at the old observatory at midnight, Nancy said. Don't tell anyone else. And be careful. If I'm right, we may be the only ones who know what's really happening. As Liz returned to the reception, she looked around at the smiling faces with new suspicion. How many of them had already been compromised? And how could she fight an enemy she couldn't even see? The old observatory sat on a hill outside the city. Its dome was broken in places, letting in the moonlight. Commander Liz Ford arrived first, checking carefully to make sure she wasn't followed. One by one, the others joined her. Dr. Olivia Wright, Intelligence Officer Nancy Rivera, Lieutenant Sam Donovan, and Chief Science Officer Alan Reeves. I still think this is crazy, Sam said, looking around the dusty old building. Secret meetings in abandoned places. We sound like conspiracy nuts. Sometimes conspiracies are real, Nancy replied coolly. She placed a small device on the floor that lit up with a blue glow. This will block any listening devices. We can talk freely now. Liz looked at each of them. I ask you all here because I trust you. I believe something terrible is happening, and we may be the only ones who can stop it. Alan nodded. I've checked the data Officer Rivera provided. The energy readings from the debris matches what we saw when we first encountered the black ship, but on a much smaller scale. So the ship broke into pieces, but the pieces are still alive. Sam asked, his earlier skepticism fading. That's my theory, Olivia confirmed. The black ship wasn't just a ship. It was more like a colony of connected organisms. When we attacked it, it didn't die. It split apart. And now those parts are here on Earth, Liz added, possibly attaching themselves to people, like what we saw on Admiral Kelly. Nancy pulled out a tablet and showed them images. I've been tracking unusual behavior patterns among high-ranking officials. In the past week, 28 key people have changed their daily routines, speaking patterns, even their basic mannerisms. Sam let out a low whistle. That's not good. It gets worse, Nancy continued. They're all pushing for the same thing, to shut down our early warning systems at the edge of the solar system for maintenance and upgrades. That would leave us blind to the approach of the other black ships, Liz realized. We need proof, Alan said. Something concrete we can take to people who haven't been affected yet. Olivia stepped forward. I might have an idea. If these organisms are similar to the fragment we studied on the Defiant, they should emit a specific type of radiation. If we can build a scanner. Sam nodded eagerly. I can help with that. We'd need parts, though. I can get them, Nancy said. My clearance still works for basic equipment. What about the Admiral? Liz asked. And the others who might be compromised. We avoid them, Nancy said firmly. Until we have proof and a way to fight this, we need to stay under the radar. Gary Peterson, who had been quiet until now, spoke up. I can help with staying hidden. I found a way to access secure databases without leaving traces. We might find more information about where the debris was taken. Liz looked at him in surprise. That's illegal, Gary. So is an alien invasion, he replied with a shrug. Sometimes you have to break rules to save lives. As they discussed their plans, a noise outside made them all freeze. Footsteps approached the observatory door. Sam reached for his sidearm, but Liz motioned for him to wait. The door creaked open, and a familiar figure stepped inside. Admiral Chris Kelly. I thought I might find you all here, he said. His voice sounded strange, with an odd rhythm. Nancy quickly kicked her blocking device under a table, hiding it from view. Admiral, Liz said carefully. We were just planning against us, the Admiral said. The word us seemed to echo in the empty building. Did you really think we wouldn't notice? The dark patch on his neck had grown, spreading up toward his jaw. His eyes reflected the moonlight in a way that human eyes shouldn't. Run, Liz shouted, grabbing for her own weapon. Split up. Meet at the backup location. As her crew scrambled in different directions, Liz faced the thing that had once been her commanding officer. Behind him, more shapes appeared in the doorway, more people with the same wrong look in their eyes. 1 month after the disaster at the observatory, Commander Liz Ford stood on the bridge of a ship that wasn't supposed to exist. The Rogue Star was an old cargo vessel, modified with parts taken from military depots and research stations across 3 planets. It wasn't fancy, but it was theirs, and most importantly, it was free of alien influence. Status report, Liz said to Sam Donovan, who was now her second in command. All systems functioning, Sam replied. The cloaking device is working. No one can see us in orbit around Mars. Liz nodded. In just 1 month, everything had changed. After escaping from the observatory, her team had gone into hiding. Using Nancy's intelligence connections and Gary's computer skills, they had uncovered the truth, and it was worse than they feared. The black ship fragments weren't just attaching to people. They were changing them, controlling them. And not just a few leaders, but hundreds of people in key positions across Earth and its colonies. Dr. Wright wants to see you in the lab, Alan said, looking up from his station. She says it's important. Liz made her way to the small room they had turned into a science lab. Olivia was bent over a microscope, her face tense with concentration. You found something? Liz asked. Olivia looked up, her eyes bright with excitement. I think I've figured it out. The fragments communicate with each other using a specific frequency. If we can disrupt that frequency, we can break their connection, Liz finished. Could that free the people they've taken over? Possibly, Olivia said, or at least weaken the fragment's control enough for the human consciousness to fight back. This was the first good news they'd had in weeks. Since going rogue, they had managed to gather almost 30 people who were still free of alien control. Scientists, soldiers, and civilians who had noticed something wrong and escaped before being taken. Nancy came into the lab, looking tired but determined. Our spy network has new information. The fragments are starting to gather in one location, a facility under the old Space Command headquarters. Why would they do that? Liz asked. I think they're trying to rebuild, Olivia said quietly. Remember, they were once a single entity, the Black Ship. Their natural state might be to reunite. Sam, who had followed Liz to the lab, spoke up. That could be our chance. If they're all in one place, we could hit them all at once with Olivia's frequency disruptor. Liz agreed. But we'd need to get close. Very close. There's more, Nancy added. 3 new black ships have entered the solar system. They'll reach Earth in less than a week. The room fell silent. They all knew what that meant. If one damaged black ship could cause this much trouble, 3 intact ones could take over the entire planet. We're out of time, Liz said. We need to act now, before those ships arrive. But we haven't tested the disruptor yet, Olivia protested. We don't know if it will work. We'll test it tonight, Liz decided. We captured one of the infected last week. We'll try it on him. Later that night, they gathered in the ship's secure hold. The captured man, once a technician at Earth's defense control, was kept behind a clear barrier. The dark patch of alien material covered half his face now, making him look like a human-shaped shadow. Ready? Liz asked Olivia, who held the small device they had built. Olivia nodded and activated the disruptor. It made no sound, but the effect on the infected man was immediate. He screamed, clutching his head. The dark patch rippled and seemed to shrink slightly. It's working, Sam exclaimed. Then, as suddenly as it had started, the effect stopped. The dark patch stabilized, and the man smiled in a way that wasn't human at all. You are too late, he said, his voice flat and cold. They are coming. And now, they know about you. The day of the final battle came too soon. Commander Liz Ford stood in the cargo bay of the Rogue Star, looking at her small army. 28 people, all that stood between Earth and complete alien takeover. We know the plan, she said. Team 1 will enter the facility and plant the improved disruptor at the center where the fragments are gathering. Team 2 will secure our escape route. Team 3 will go to the Defense Control Center and make sure Earth's weapons are ready when the new black ships arrive. Dr. Olivia Wright stepped forward, holding 3 devices. The new disruptors should work. I've adjusted the frequency based on what we learned from our test. They'll need 15 minutes to charge once placed. Sam Donovan checked his weapon. And if they don't work? Then we use these, Nancy Rivera said, revealing several high-powered explosives. Last resort only. We're trying to save people, not kill them. The mood was grim as they boarded the small shuttles. No one said what they were all thinking, that this mission was likely a one-way trip. Liz led Team 1. Using Nancy's security codes, they landed on the roof of the old Space Command headquarters and made their way down to the underground facility. They encountered few guards. Most of the infected were already below, joining the mass of fragments. It's like they're building something, Alan Reeves whispered as they looked through a window into the main chamber. Below them, hundreds of infected people stood in a circle. The dark patches on their bodies seemed to be growing, connecting them to each other. In the center of the room was a large, pulsing mass of the black material, the combined fragments from the original ship. It's rebuilding itself, Olivia said, using the humans as raw material. Liz felt sick, but she pushed the feeling aside. We need to get the disruptor right in the middle of that mass. Sam looked at the heavily guarded entrance to the chamber. That's going to be a problem. Not for me, Liz said. I'll go alone. The rest of you get back to the shuttle. Commander, no. Sam began. That's an order, Liz said firmly. Someone needs to lead Team 3 if I don't make it. Before they could argue further, Liz took the disruptor from Olivia and slipped away. Using all her training, she made her way to the lower level and found a maintenance tunnel that led into the main chamber. The scene was even more horrifying up close. The infected people were slowly being absorbed into the growing black mass, and at the edge of the room, she saw Admiral Kelly. His body was almost entirely covered in the black material now, but his eyes, for just a moment, seemed to clear. "Forward," he whispered as she passed. "End this." Liz nodded and continued toward the center of the room. She was almost there when an alarm sounded. Someone had spotted her. "Now or never," Liz muttered. She ran the last few meters and threw the disruptor directly into the center of the black mass. The effect was immediate and violent. The mass convulsed, sending out waves of dark energy. The infected people screamed, some with alien voices, others sounding human again. The disruptor glowed brightly as it began to work. Liz turned to run, but found her path blocked. She was surrounded by infected guards, their hands reaching for her. Then a voice called out, "Commander, this way." It was Admiral Kelly. The black material on his body was fighting to stay in control, but he was fighting back harder. He pointed to an exit. Liz ran for it, with Kelly right behind her. They made it to the hallway just as the disruptor reached full power. A wave of energy swept through the facility. The infected people fell to the ground, the black material separating from their bodies and dissolving into nothing. In orbit above Earth, the three approaching black ships suddenly changed course, as if sensing what had happened below. "We did it," Liz said, helping the now-free Admiral to his feet. Kelly nodded weakly. "Not yet. There's still the ships to deal with." Liz's communicator crackled to life. It was Sam. "Commander, Earth's defense systems are online. We're targeting the black ships now. But there's something else." "What is it?" Liz asked. "The technology from the disruptor. Olivia thinks we can adapt it to create a shield around Earth, one that will keep the black ships out permanently." Liz looked at Kelly, who smiled for the first time in weeks. A human smile. "Then let's get to work," she said. "We have a planet to save."